Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I know I'm late, but y'all, Saturday was a lot. It took a lot out of me. My friend sent a baby shower invite very, very, very late. She sent it like 2 or 3 days out, and I didn't get it until less than 12 hours before it was gonna actually happen. So yeah, I got it at like 5 or 5:30 a.m. and I was looking like, and the actual baby shower was gonna be at 3 p.m. Y'all, I was so exhausted. So I said to myself, I have to go support her. I supported her last year when she was pregnant, but they ended up losing the baby. And coincidentally enough, she's pretty much due around the same time this year. So she's due next month and all that good stuff. She looks really, really good, y'all. I'm so glad that I went. I was exhausted though. I'm still kind of, but not as bad as I was Saturday and Sunday because yeah, it was a lot. Uh, I couldn't even stay the whole time. First of all, y'all, I got lost. Got lost several times. Then the flyer had the wrong address on it, but I made it. I got this little thing, got this little shoe because they're having a little boy. They put a little piece of candy and things in it. It had like little games. I played one or two of the games, and I guessed what I could. Like y'all, when I tell y'all I was not all there, like I'm usually really good at games and all that stuff. Y'all, I couldn't think of nothing. And then they had bubbles. Y'all, I used to live for bubbles when I was a child. That's why I was like, wait a minute, what is that? When I saw it in the little bag, I was like, oh, okay. Y'all look at me, I'm doing the most. But anyway, that's why I'm so late. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this recap review. So the episode started where I left off last time, where everybody was still at black. Wanda is going back and forth with everybody at this point. She's going back and forth with Melody, trying to tell Melody that she knows her and that she should be friends with her daughter, and she knows that she and Martell need to be together and should be together, and she just need to give him another chance, and he's the one for her. And she's looking at her like, if he's this great, why don't you get with him? And it's like she keeps on trying to make it seem like she just sees all of this stuff. And he did these things to you. You've been with him too long. And she was like, the problem is that older generations of people are sitting up here telling the young generation, stay with this trash, stay with all these toxic people, and just deal with it. And that's the problem. Instead of you telling people what they need to do for real, which is to leave and let that hurt go, you tell them to stay. And I was like, the way you read her, even though it's like she read her, but she told her the truth at the same time. And I was so here for it. I was like, you better say that. Because that's true, though. That is very true. Like, there are people who are a part of the older generation that will sit up there and tell you that, oh, he got money, but he beating you. Oh, okay, it's all right. He got money, girl. He got you in a house. You eating, you safe. You all right. It's okay that he beat you sometimes. Don't worry about him going out there thotting and bopping. Oh, he gave you some diseases. Well, at least it wasn't HIV. Like, they really be out here like that. And I just be like, I cannot. I can't do it. So 1 minute, Wanda's going back and forth with Melody. The next minute, Destiny didn't jumped in because she looking like, all right, I already know that the two of us are not on the greatest terms right now, but I can't let her come at her like this. Like, they really was going back and forth. Then Melody, of course, was like, I ain't got time for this fool. Just leave me alone. I'm gone. Bye. And eventually she and Kimmy got into it. And I was just like, bruh, I'm talking about it was bad. Kimmy was beating on the table and everything. She sat up there and tried to say that Kimmy has all this stuff to say on social media. And she was like, okay, what are you talking about? Where's this proof? Show it to me. I want to see what you're talking about. Give me an example. I mean, they went back and forth for the longest and she would never explain what she was talking about. Never brought up no receipt. Everybody trying to figure out, what is you talking about? Like, I can't. The men are outside talking about all kinds of foolishness. And of course, one of the things they're talking about is, oh, well, are you and Melody getting back together? Do you love her and all this other stuff? Martell is like, of course I love her, but I mean, I don't see us getting back together. It don't matter what I feel. Like, and then he in the confessional talking about, God, Jesus, or somebody will have to come down off the cross or come from heaven and touch me in order for us to get back together. It always makes me laugh when people, the ones who are dead wrong, try to use that analogy for themselves. Now, if you were the victim in the situation, the person who was wronged, I understand you saying that, because I definitely say the Lord gonna have to come down up off the cross in order for me to get out there. Seriously, like I can't. I'm tired of my spirit. If you have been through what I've been through, you will be tired too. So it just is what it is. And people want to know what all is going on, like why y'all feel it, why y'all acting like this. And then eventually the conversation is then put on Marceau, because they were like, okay, so you wouldn't get married again. And they noticed that, all the men that were sitting on one side, they had been married twice. Everybody else was only married once. And so they looking like, okay, yeah, we got married again. One of them was like, it get lonely. Your mindset gonna change. He talking about, we gonna be married. He basically made it seem like we're gonna be married for life. It is what it is. I'm not anticipating us getting divorced. So why would I sit up there and try to say, oh, well, am I open to being married again? Yes or no? Like, why would I say that if I think my marriage is gonna last? I just can't. I don't know. I just can't. Wanda been doing the most. The name of this episode is W.A.P. Wanda ain't playing. I'm so sick of time. Like, I mean, she and Kimmy got all the way into it. It was so loud. Like, y'all, it was really too much. So anyway, forget all that drama. So now Melody is in the studio working on another song that she has written. And we are going to actually see, like, the next episode where she is doing the video shoot for the single that she has that has been really making its rounds. Like, people really be on TikTok and everywhere sending off on that song. The video was kind of interesting. I was like, wait a minute, excuse me, ma'am. I remember when she said that people kept saying to her, can you drop like a little snippet, like a 5-10 second? I was like, excuse me, before it dropped. Like, a lot went down. So anyway, she's in the studio, and then Destiny dropped by, and she was like, I kind of want to talk about what happened at Black or whatever. And despite the fact that you and I were not on the best of terms, I felt like I needed to jump up and set it off real quick because she was doing too much. And so she was just like, look, it is what it is. And don't worry about my friend. She was saying that the woman, the new person in the group, I forgot, I don't remember if her name is Tiffany or not, y'all. I'm just like, yeah, I think her name is Tiffany. It was just a lot of stuff surrounding her, because she was like, well, I noticed that there was a situation, and I went up to her and I even hugged her despite how she came at me, serving me cold tea. And, she was like, well, what was that situation about? She ended up telling her that, apparently the stuff wasn't, known to Kimmy, and Maurice brought it up, and that's why she got upset and all this other stuff. And so she was like, well, I feel like a whole lot of situations would have been avoided had people been doing sidebars. Bringing people, just pull everybody to the side. When you said what you said, when she wanted to bring up what she brought up to me, she could have said that. And, she could have said to herself, dang, do I know her from somewhere? Or whatever. And then just pull me to the side. It was like, can I ask you something? Like, let me talk to you for a few minutes. I know it's your birthday. I don't want to take you away from your party for too long. Let me pull you to the side. I want to ask you something real quick. She could have did that. Melody could have took her to the side instead of putting her on blast. And they bickering in front of everybody while they at the little Taco Tuesday situation. And it was just too much going on. And Kimmy could have been pulled to the side when Tiffany had that tea on Monster. I was like, what is the child's name? But yeah, so a lot of stuff really could have been avoided. But yeah, she was just like, look, I have certain friends that, they can speak up for themselves, but others I might have to help and step in for them. I know her very well, and there aren't any issues. So Melody didn't see a problem with what she said. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, do what you do. So anyway, now we see Tiffany and her husband at the house. And I don't know if production was being shady or whatever, because I feel like if I were to go on the internet right now, people would be reading this moment. Tiffany was shown on a, I guess, 0-point turn lawnmower. And that's the one that you sit on, you don't have to push and all this other stuff. I personally, like, I didn't see a problem with what she said. I didn't see a problem with it, especially if that actually is how she feels and how she processes stuff and what she likes. I used to actually like cutting our grass at home when I was younger, because I always used to look at a lot of different things. It could be the simplest of things. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's cardio. So I'm getting cardio in. So like, I always have been into, even though I'm fat, I've always been into aerobics and walking and like all that type of stuff. I was really into basketball at one point in time. Like, I was pretty decent, like all of that. So it just is what it is. But as far as I was concerned, the push more for me was awesome, because we have big yard. We have big yard. The front yard is really, really big. So yeah, there was a lot of cardio involved. I just didn't like the fact that there might be critters and things out there. Like, I luckily have never walked up on a snake by myself while I was cutting the grass. It was just the one time when I was walking around the house with my daddy when I was a child, when I was younger, rather. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, she said that is something that kind of helps to calm her nerves, soothes her. It's her thing. So she was out there cutting the grass, and her husband was weed eating around certain spots or whatever. So they took a break and they were talking, and stuff was brought up about black. And the husband was just like, at a point, it just becomes redundant. You're beating a dead horse. I don't understand why this keeps being brought up. It's not like anybody was killed and all this other stuff. And my thing is, like, I beg to differ, because there have been situations where people have done significantly less than what Monster did, and people judge them on it very harshly. And it's like, really? Like, people really will look at him and be like, oh, you might be a deviant. You know, oh, you were doing this. What? I heard you did this. And it's like, it's giving people reason to have pause, and that's not cool. And of course, it's not right. It's not right for people to think that and have that perception of people, but people do. And I'm telling you, people have had it for lesser reasons in life. So I feel like they need to just stop trying to make it seem like that's not a big deal. I, again, still want to know who told her, especially if it was an official at the school, because he is a child. He is a minor. So the fact that she just felt comfortable just talking about it in front of everybody when didn't nobody even hardly know her outside of Melody, and what's her name knew of her because of the seat that she had on the Chambers of Commerce or whatever they call it. So I'm just like, girl, you doing too much. So anyway, she was discussing that, and then she gonna say, oh, you look so good. You know how you look. You're so dirty, and I like how you look when you're dirty and you're nasty. And I was just like, anyway, then we see Martell with his partner, and it's someone who has all of the licensing he already needs. And, you know, because of everything that happened with the marriage, a lot of stuff had to get dissolved, and he lost all of his businesses. So he did not have the licenses that he needed to have. This man was looking at him like, when I've done business with you before and I've talked to you before, I thought you had all these licenses. He was like, no, my wife had them. And it was just to the point where he was just like, I knew you for some years. Like, why didn't you get it before now? So he talking about next month, he is going to take the license. Sure, I guess that's what they call it for that as well. Trying to get his license to be y'all, I forgot the name of, but anyway, the license that's needed in order to do these contracts and all this other stuff for the houses. The thing that Melody had, like, it's just like, I still don't understand why he had the audacity to be mad when Melody really was the one who was holding all the power. Like, you weren't gonna be able to make a move unless she was the one doing it. Unless you were gonna pay somebody else to do it, y'all didn't have no choice but to make money together. So it just is what it is. So now he is hoping that he's gonna pass the license, that licensure. That's what I'm gonna call it. He said that it was crazy because he went and took the test and failed it, and she went and took it and passed it, and it just was what it was. And she didn't go all out. She studied for it and knocked it out, and she know nothing about all that stuff. And I'm just like, well, it is what it is. So anyway, I understand him feeling some type of way because he brought a lot of people to the table, but it's like you didn't have your ducks in a row, so that's your fault that you missing out, that you ended up missing out on so much money. So he's about to get back into the business. COVID happened, that was another added stressor, a situation that ain't do nothing but make for a worse situation when you're trying to have money, when that's your bread and butter. So yeah, I know a whole lot of construction stopped around here when all that stuff went down. So yeah, he was trying to talk to him about, being divorced and all this other stuff. And he was like, look, I've experienced that myself, so I get it. So now he's just like, I feel like you need to do what you need to do so you can be in a better place. Y'all, we are getting to the end of the episode, and this is where we see Wanda roll up to her daughter and son-in-law's home, and she wants to discuss everything that happened at Black. So she telling Letitia what all happened at Black. And so she was like, who told you to shut up? Who said this? Who said that? And so she was like, your friends said all these things. She was like, oh, I feel like this would have gone a whole completely different direction had I been there. Like, I can't believe they said these things to you. And she had to tell her mama, look, you need to stop creating this drama because I have squashed my beef with these ladies. So I'm going to need for you to stop talking to them about all this foolishness. So she getting riled up because she finds out that Marceau hand delivered a bottle of wine to Melody. I don't know if I am more surprised that she is this upset about something like that and not the allegations of him having children and cheating and all this other stuff, but in the same breath trying to make it seem like she's so secure. It's like, I don't think Melody would touch him with a 10-foot pole, like if her life depended on it. I don't think she would like even take the shoulder down from a piece of clothing that she had on to try to seduce him. Like, I'm just like, what is we talking about? Anyway, y'all, I can't. So anyway, production is being crazy. They sat up there and watched this man. Look, this man was like this. He kept coming to the door. Y'all, I just realized, y'all are bad. I am so serious. I was just showing y'all this as an example. I'm going to tell y'all about this in one of my videos before the end of the year. But anyway, this just has, when I graduated and all this other stuff, Black-owned business during COVID, this person ended up creating all kinds of stuff. But I will get into that when I make a video on a Black-owned business. So anyway, y'all, complete and utter coincidence. I don't know why this was the first one I grabbed. But anyway, this is what he doing. He in the window like this. I been just looking at Miss Wanda talking, and I'm guessing that he can hear some of the stuff that's being said. And I'm just like, you doing a lot in your life. You are doing a lot in your life, sir. I can't. So anyway, he eventually come outside. He gave her a half of a hug. It was like a, hey, how you doing? So then an issue is being made about how he hugged her. And I'm like, ma'am, you ought to be glad this man even touched you in the slightest. Like, if that man would have even waved at you, that's progress, because y'all argue like cats and dogs. He don't like you. So the fact that he even came up to you and he keeps making these efforts even though he don't want to, for the sake of him being with your daughter, for the sake of his kids. So I just be like, girl, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. So they are over this. I was like, what was that? And so she bringing up stuff, being messy to myself. Oh, well, I couldn't get the kind of hug that Melody got where he was all like this. I was like, girl, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. Go somewhere and sit down. So anyway, made an issue about the wine being delivered to her. She was like, you need to answer the question. Did you deliver the wine to her? And he was like, I'm not going to answer that. Like, whether he delivered it or not, I'm not understanding the problem Were they linking up to have sex? I think not. So why does it matter? They live in the same city. Why is it a problem? You knew that he was going to approach her about being a brand ambassador because her star is rising right now. So it's like, why are you mad? She legit got mad because he wouldn't answer that. I'm just like, girl, the things that you choose to be mad about, it's just so dumb. You mad that Kimmy don't want to be around you all day, every day, because you want her to live on the same property that you live on. So you can come to her house all day, every day, bothering her while she's trying to have a me time. Girl, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. So anyway, she over here trying to convince herself that she ain't competing with nobody and all this other stuff. But she really is making it a big deal, talking about, well, it's a problem if you went and did this without talking to me about it. Why? Why? Child, it was hilarious when he called Miss Wanda a day drunk. Because that was the first thing he actually said. Like, when she tried to try him about all this stuff, she was like, why don't you just admit it or something? He was like, what, that you're a day drunk? I was like, wait a minute. When they first showed the preview of this, I about fell in the flow because I was like, wait a minute, y'all done went off. Like, why? But anyway, that was what happened on this episode. Ain't nothing going on. She and her feelings and she done went in the house. You need to tell your mama to go somewhere and sit down because she was like, look, I don't need you to fight my battles for me. I'm good where I'm at. Like, I'm just like, girl, tell your mama to go somewhere and sit down because every time she show up, it's some foolishness. People done got real buck with your mama. They done got tired. Like, they really tried to walk on eggshells around Miss Wanda, but Miss Wanda be trying, folks. She feel like the saying goes for her. Oh, well, I'm an older person, so I can say what I want to say, and they got to deal with it. No. There are people yanking people up and slinging them across the room for trying them. They're doing this to older people. Like, people get tired. Like, people are tired of their spirit. Like, if you don't go somewhere and sit down. But anyway, that was the episode, y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this recap review. I'm tired of my spirit. I might come back on here later on because I did have some stuff I wanted to discuss because everything was popping off Saturday. And I was like, really? Really? Like, before I got on to do my last recap review, I did put a ring on it. So much stuff came on that I want to do thoughts posts on. Like, ain't nobody really trying to hear about it now because the time has come and gone. But I don't know. Depending on how I feel, I might come back. But anyway, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in, as always. Really do appreciate all the love and support. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are so dope. Anyway, let me go and relax. I'm about to continue binge watching this show that a lot of y'all been watching. And I'm catching back up on. Y'all have a good day. Bye.